guys, so I decided that today I would do this weird thing where I would take random Gacha characters and then click the randomize button and I would eventually draw them. Okay, so I had 3 characters originally that I was going to do, but one of the clips went missing or something, so there's only 2 of them, the first one, the last one, so I apologize for that, but yeah. And this is gonna be really awkward too because I'm not very good at these kind of videos, so you have been warned. Anyways, so the first one, this is the character I chose. There wasn't much I needed to do as much of a difference with this one because some of them I redesigned completely because, not completely, but I changed maybe the color or something because I didn't change the clothes, but I changed the color or something because it didn't look good together, but in this case, all the colors matched up fine, so didn't do much with this one. I did learn a new technique though, which I'll show you eventually, and I will say, I'm not very good at drawing clothing. I'm terrible at drawing clothing, in fact. So I'm sorry if the clothing just looks weird compared to everything else. I honestly need to practice drawing clothing. Which I guess this does count as some practice. But, you know. So I actually kind of had a hard time with the hair for a bit. Yay. Eventually I did get it though. It wasn't that bad. But yeah. So I moved the handle because in the position she was in, it was pretty plain and boring. So I gave her a bit of a new position, which I did with most of them. You know, so that's great. And because it just looks more appealing than just her being like, just have her over her arms to the side. It looks more interesting. It's probably not very good, but you know what? I need to work on poses too, but I'm not that bad at them, but still. So I will say I am not very proud of the clothing on this. It's probably my least thing I'm proud of on most of these. The last one, the clothing was a bit better because I figured out something that I could do, but it doesn't look that different. So that's just something that I need to work on, I guess. And I don't know what else to say here, because, let's see. I did learn a new thing with how I shaded in the nose, because I added something to it to make it have more dimension, which is nice. So I did learn something else there. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of all the things I learned and new techniques I figured out. Because it happens. Oops, I'm so sorry. You probably heard that. Yeah, I did find a new technique with the hair, which I tried getting rid of the lines on it and then mixing the shading in with the line work, basically. You get what I'm saying, right? It actually looked pretty good. You don't see it yet, but you will in a bit. And I think it's amazing. But, yeah. So, I also just wanted to learn how to draw different things, because I need, also because I was in art block. I'm not really in much of art block now. I probably could draw something now. But I was in art block while I was doing this, so I was thinking, I need to do something. I need to draw. I don't want to lose all the skills I've learned. So, yeah, now you can see the hair, but, yeah, it's all shaded and everything. I love it. It looks so good. The other 2 don't look as good, I don't think. Well, the last one looks pretty good too, but the second one's not as good. But anyways, so I was in art block. Yay. Yay me. I'm lucky that I don't have that as bad as some people, but it's still a problem. Yeah. Yeah, just not too long ago, I just drew something in my sketchbook, so, which I know I'm taking forever on the first sketchbook. I'm so sorry. I can't help it. I'm just slow, very slow. But yeah, I tried doing something different with shading with the clothes a little bit. It still doesn't look that great. It doesn't look terrible, but it just looks weird next to that super realistic looking hair. I like how I do the socks though, or not the sock. Not the socks, the stockings. The stockings. They're stockings, not socks. I don't like the shoes, but what can you do? It was kind of a weird shoe design, so it's not really my fault. But still, so yeah, we have that one. Oh my goodness. The next one will probably be coming up in a bit. I'd probably had to add shading and stuff to it, I bet. Because of course, yeah. It has a bit more depth now, so it's not that bad. Now here's the second one. Oh boy. So, the second one had really crazy hair, and that was so difficult to draw. I really like how I did the body on this one, because I made it a little bit different than the other two, which was nice. Also, it just I don't know, I just like it. But yeah, the hair was a mess, and I tried to figure out how I was gonna draw that crown, and then I realized I would just draw it small. I wouldn't make a giant crown because it doesn't make much sense, because that might be Gacha logic. But in real life, not in real life, in my world, crowns are normal size. They are not big. So I drew a tiny little crown in her hand, and I struggled with the hair a bit because, of course, I did. The ears were the worst, though. I didn't get them. The ears kind of look bad. Even this was just a sketch, but even in the original one, the ears, oof. Just oof. They do not. They're all. I'm so sorry. They're all sideways and everything. And this is definitely not my favorite one. I don't know which was my favorite, because there are things that I don't like about each of them, and also things I like about each of them. So, you know. Trying to think of something else. What else did I do? It pretty much just looks exactly the same. I didn't do much difference. I didn't really do anything different with it. I did make the mouth a little bit different because my characters. I did make the mouth a little bit different. I didn't do the exact same mouth. It just would not look right on my character because I have a completely different style than that. Mine's not very chibi-ish, so it wouldn't make sense for that. But anyways, I didn't really change much, honestly. It looks pretty similar. Yeah. I remember I did have some problems with the face because I wanted to try and make it a certain way, and it was really difficult. That's always fun. What else? So, wait. I think I tried to adjust the heart on her, the heart that's on her shirt, but to try and make it look more realistic and stuff, because she's a chest. But, you know, I couldn't do it because I'm not very good at it. I tried to use the mesh tool to do that, and it did not happen. It just looked terrible. But now right now you're watching it being colored, but I just remembered that. But anyways, which the hair, it took me a long time. Not as long as the other one, because that was when I was just learning it, so it took me a long time to do that. But this one also took a longer time because it was so much hair. There's so much hair on this. It's not as much even as the original character had, because the original character, the little Gacha character, had way more hair than that one. But I don't want to draw that much hair, so I love drawing hair, but it also probably wouldn't look right because the anatomy is completely different compared to that. My art style is completely different compared to that, so it makes sense, but you know. Still. Yeah, the ears are just weird. I'm sorry. Those ears are bothering me. It's not that bad, but it's still. It's because I'm a perfectionist. I'm sorry. Yeah, that hair took me forever. What else? Oh my goodness. I'm terrible at these videos. I'm so sorry. I would think I was gonna have more to say, but I do not. I also wanted to... I didn't do much with the pose. I mean, it looks kind of basic. Maybe it's because I didn't know what to do, really. Which is understandable. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to do anything too crazy because I was in art block, so I couldn't really think of anything too grand, so I'm sorry about that. I couldn't do it. I don't know why. Trying to think. I like how I did the bows eventually, because what I did was, you know how there's stripes on the bows on the Gacha character? I was thinking, how can I do that? And then I realized, I was thinking, should I just draw lines when I'm drawing it so I can put them there? But I realized it wouldn't have the same effect, so I just didn't do that, and I just colored them in all black, and then put little wait. And then I drew in gray to make the stripes that you see on the little Gacha character. So that's great. I don't think I did the bows until later, but I could be wrong. I could very well be very wrong. It doesn't matter. I don't even remember which I did first or anything like that. It doesn't matter though. I also the stockings, I just realized this, I forgot about that. I made one a little longer than the other because I wanted to make it more interesting other than just completely copying the character. It's kind of what I'm supposed to be doing, but I wanted to, you know, add something to it. Because I thought it looked more cute too. I don't know. It's just, one stocking's a bit longer than the other. That's just nice. Yeah. And what I did for the eye, I had to do a weird thing with it. I had to color it in this really weird way. Just because it's black instead of white, what is it called? Dang it. I forgot what it's called. But it's black where in your eye it's usually white. I know what it's called. I sound so stupid right now. I'm so sorry. I'm much smarter than this, I promise. I'm just really awkward at these kind of videos. So I did this and now it's done. It's not the best, but it's not the worst I could draw. Let's be honest. But yeah. So there it is. So this is the last one. Why is this so awkward? So, for the last one, this one was the craziest one in my opinion. The one you saw on the thumbnail. So, I tried to do the last one to make it more wild, make it more hard for me to do. I did the eye a little bit differently. That's because it was, you know, it was a bit different. It doesn't matter. For the most part, it wasn't that bad. I just changed a lot of the colors on a lot of it, and I maybe didn't do certain things on it, or most of it is just I just changed the colors, and that's it, to match better. Because you would think blue and red and black would go good together, but the way it looked, it did not look pleasing to my eyeballs. I'm sorry. And maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm just crazy. I don't think I'm applying actual color theory here. I don't know. But it just didn't look pleasing to me. I didn't care about color theory in this case. I was just like, it's just not pleasing. This does not look, oh my goodness. This does not look pleasing to me, so I'm not gonna do that. And I didn't add the wolf ears because she already had some little horns. So I was thinking, that doesn't make sense. It just didn't look good. And I gave her a really weird position with her legs. I fixed that later because I realized how terrible that looked. I'm just bashing this poor girl. But yeah. I also changed the position a bit because that was kind of a neutral position, and I tried to do a more defensive position. This isn't that good or anything. It really isn't. But, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, mostly I just changed the color on things and maybe made the design a little bit different. Like, for the eye patch, for example, there was a school on it, but I didn't want to put that on there. Part of it's just because I'm lazy and I know I cannot draw school. And also because it just looks a little over the top. I don't know why. It does not look pleasing to me. It just looks over the top, and I don't think it would work very well with it. It just looks so over the top, and maybe it's just me. I don't know. It's probably just me. But yeah, and I had a bit of struggle with drawing the ruffly top on the collar on her shirt. That was something else. I also did a different thing where I added more than one sketch on it because I thought that that would help me to get where I actually wanted the drawing to look. So that way I had a more, I refined it more because I'm a perfectionist. I may have mentioned this already in this video. I said, oh my goodness, I'm a perfectionist earlier, which I am. So I like to perfect everything. And when you see my first sketchbook, you'll know for sure when you get more to the more recent stuff in it, then you'll see what I mean, because a lot of my sketches in there are just so refined. Some of them aren't, but most of them are, because I don't really sketch, I just do a full-on drawing. Oh man, I need help. I need to learn how to sketch. I'm terrible at sketching. Well, no, I'm not terrible at it. I just don't, I can't just do a sloppy sketch and be done with it. I have to refine it, or else I'm gonna be bothered by it every time I see it. So that's a little lore behind me. Oh man. I'm trying to think of what else I did here. I think I may have made the skirt a bit longer too, because the skirt was kind of short, I think, on the original drawing. I don't know. And like I said, I did eventually make the legs a little bit better. I like how I did the hair. It's kind of weird looking, but it still looks good in my opinion. That's my opinion though, so what can I say? But yeah. I did what I did with the other two, so that's just great. And I did something interesting with the horns in my opinion, which you'll see that after I'm done doing the hair. Which is, I think I like how I did the horns. I love the horns because they're really cute looking how I did them, because not cute looking. It does look cute on the character, but that's not what I meant to say. I'm so sorry. I thought, so what I did was I shaded them in a certain way, and so I did that because I thought that would look good. So that way it gave more dimension to the horns instead of them just being really flat. And also, I know one thing that I did change about the color. Well, I changed the color of her stockings or socks, because that color was, the bright blue and pink did not look very good. And I also changed the color of the wings too, because the wings just did not look good. And I learned a new technique when, oh, I'm so sorry. I learned a new technique when doing the shield and the sword. I saw someone do this thing where they did the reflection that you see on something that is metal, on a metallic surface. So I thought, I'm gonna try that. It doesn't look that great. It doesn't look terrible though. I think it looks pretty good. But, this is my first time doing something like that, because I don't usually do that. Because I'm lazy, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe because I didn't know how to do it, that's why. And after seeing someone do it, I thought, I'm gonna try that. So that's another thing I learned. I also learned that I don't like certain colors together. And I'm a perfectionist. I am definitely a perfectionist, and it's terrible. It's not good for me. Yeah. So I did that. So it's no longer blue, and the sword's no longer blue, because the blue sword, that just looks weird. So there we go. And so now here I have all my drawings compared to the Gacha characters. And then in a minute you're going to see the drawings in their full glory just by themselves. So that's nice. I hope you guys had fun watching this video, even though it's very cringy and awkward. I'm so sorry. But, what can you do?